Good morning, flock. Welcome to Prague. For some of you, maybe it's the second time coming to a flock in Prague. In that case, welcome back. But for many of you, probably like myself, it's the first time that we're here in Prague after some time. So I'd like to thank everyone for coming out and being a part. How are y'all feeling this morning? You ready for 3 days of flock? So before we get started, we've got a little bit of announcements and some opening remarks, things you should be keeping in mind for the days ahead. Quick, just as a regular reminder, Fedora does have a code of conduct. We'll have a slide rotating throughout the week that you can find that and access it. You can also find it online, and we also have an email address that should be written on the back of your badge. If anything comes up, you can find more information on the badge. Also, a big thank you to all of our sponsors who have helped make this event possible this year. That's Red Hat, CentOS, Lenovo, Alma Linux, Microsoft, Rocky Linux, ARM, and OpenSUSE, as well as some of our bronze sponsors, which would be Nova Custom and Velocity Limitless. So a big round of applause for all of our sponsors this year. And additionally, now let me see if I can use this fancy clicker. All right. So some important logistic information. At lunchtime, this entire room is going to change. So at lunch, take everything with you if you want to ever see it again. So make sure that right when we have the closing session for lunch, we need to promptly clear out the room so we can get set up for the afternoon breakout. So do not leave anything in this room after lunch. There's also some information about volunteering. We're looking for a few more volunteers to help out with registration desk, or we have the role of a session chair. That's just helping, run the microphone around the room. There's some little time cards for speakers, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. If this sounds like something you'd like to help out with, or you're already going to be in a room anyways and you'd like to help, you can find some more information on this QR code as well. Lastly, comes logistic pieces about what's going to be happening in the evening times outside of the conference. Tonight, we're going to have a candy swap at the Gikarna venue. If you have seen Emma Kidney's map at the registration desk, you'll be able to find exactly where that is. But we'll also be sharing more information about that in our Matrix chat room. Tomorrow night, we have a social night, and we are bringing back, if you've been into a few flocks, particularly the ones in Europe, you might remember, we usually have a boat, and there's a river, and we take a little cruise on the river and have a dinner, and we're bringing that back this year. But because it's a boat, that means you need to be there at 7 p.m. sharp, because the boat is going to leave whether you are there or not. So there is no late arrivals for this one. So make sure if you want to join us for the dinner, you are there promptly at the meetup location for the dinner. Good swimmers, yes, because once you're on the boat, there's no leaving the boat. You have 2 hours. You're on the boat. So make sure you are okay with 2 hours on a boat. And I believe actually at the end we'll have an hour docked where if you want to hang out for a little bit longer, you can. Lastly, for Saturday night, that's an open evening. So if you want to meet up, now that you've made some Fedora friends throughout the week, you've gotten to know Prague a little bit, that's going to be a great time for the folks who aren't jumping out. If you want to go and plan a dinner or have a nice quiet evening as the conference wraps up, that's the perfect time to do so. And for Sunday, I think some of you have probably already seen, we had to forego the social day trip this year. However, we do have some recommendations from things you can do and see around Prague. If you haven't seen the Prague recommendations wiki page on the Fedora wiki, that has a bunch of information about how you can spend your time and maybe make a little group to go around and see some of the city or some of the nearby places. So with that, last little piece of information. If you were at the release party last week, you might have heard the little rumor that we are about to launch the annual contributor survey. And thanks to many folks who have put in some last-minute work to help us make it accomplished. Greg, you can raise your hand in the back. Thank you, Greg. We have the survey ready. So we are going to be sharing this more widely. I believe it's running for 30 days, about a month. So we're officially launching it here. This is our best way to share feedback with the community. And this is for users, contributors. This is very wide open. So this is one of the best ways that we get to really hear from our user and contributor community. So I highly encourage you, if you have a few minutes to fill it out while you're here, that's great. Otherwise, you'll have a few extra weeks after Flock. Just don't forget to fill out the survey. And with that, I think that's really most of the the important details. Let me just take one last look before oh, and something else I thought was really special this year as we were reflecting back. This is actually the 10th flock that we have done. So there's there's lots of other events, as we've done 35 FUDCons in the past, and if you count the Nest events, we've had 13 flagship events, but I just wanted to share that this was a special moment. This is our 10th flock coming together in person as a community, running this tradition together, and honestly, it's one of my favorite things that I get to experience in my role, seeing all of you all come together for a few days, wherever we are in the world, hanging out with our contributor community, working through some important things that are in our community. So I'm really thankful that all of you get to be here with us and be a part of this 10th edition chapter of Flock to Fedora. So with that, I believe we are now at the FPL Exchange. You are all about to witness a historic event in this very room, 10 years in the making. So with that, I think I will go ahead, if there's nothing else that folks would like to say for opening remarks, or if there's any questions, conference logistic questions that people want to shout out. Yes? Wi-Fi password. So yes, that is actually posted in a couple of places around, I think on the doors as well. But if I remember right, it's the and.conf network is the better one. I've had issues with the Vienna House network. So if you connect to the and.conf network, that password is something.something, Vienna.something. It is posted around. If someone wants to put that into the Matrix chat as well, that would probably be pretty handy. But you can find it posted around the venue as well if you do need the Wi-Fi password. So good question there. Last call for big room questions before we have this historic event on this stage. All right, folks, then I'm going to pass the microphone over to Mr. Matthew Miller.